This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Make a move extreme. Shortcut to your dreams. A road straight to the stars on that flying thing. Getting snow blind games.
Blaze Nation Pop Experience. Pop Goes to the Couch continues their weekly double dip into the great streaming shows, or good or indifferent, as depending on what show we're talking about at the time. This one so far has lived up to the hype and has been great so far. I'm talking about Peacemaker, which is in its first season here on HBOmax. We were treated to 3 episodes the first week. This week only 1 regular drop. This one is called No, it's not called A Whole New World. I didn't change my font here. A Choad Less Traveled. So I can't believe I said that on the pod. Shawn Kidd is...
They made you say it.
Yes, they made me say it. Shawn Kidd is on assignment right now, but Tim Capel's here. Hey, Tim.
Hey, I am a Choad, well-traveled.
Oh, okay. And Scott Shifflett is here as well.
I am not a Choad, and I
Yes,
travel
you are.
some. Okay, I am a Choad. I'm the vigilante to Tim's Peacemaker.
Oh, wow.
All right, there you go. I don't want to know what that makes me. All right.
Autonomous.
Oh, fuck you. All right. I'd rather be judo master. As long as I get to, nice with hardcore, I don't care which character I am. All right, here we go. So this episode opens with the team morteming their takedown of Senator Goff and his family. Peacemaker reports to Harcourt's slight dismay that he killed a butterfly he saw emerge from Goff's blasted open face. Vigilante frets that he may never stand up again with his mauled pinky toe, and Economo straps a wounded judo master to the office sofa. In private, Myrn chastises Peacemaker for freezing up on his pint-sized kid kill that Vigilante had to wind up doing, asking if his head is truly in this. Peacemaker babbles on about not having his dub insignia on the gun, but admits that while he has famously vowed to keep peace at any cost, no matter who he kills along the way, he wasn't going to ice the kids just because Myrn said so. Myrn hears him out, but makes it clear that their mission demands him be a son of a bitch, and you're the only one I got. He also tasks Peacemaker with keeping Vigilante close now that he knows too much. Adebayo, meanwhile, apologizes to Harcourt for not being able to pull the trigger on the bodyguard, explaining that she has never shot, let alone killed anyone before. Harcourt makes it clear, if you want to do this job, you can't balk ever. So hot start to this episode. We get a little, like we said, post-mortem to what happened in the previous episode. So Tim, what do you think of the start of this one?
Yeah, hot start. We are told, but do not see, Peacemaker killed the butterfly that emerged from the senator. More on that later. In the whole little pep talk come to Jesus that he has with Myrn, I don't know. This is a little bit interesting because it makes me wonder, in light of a revelation we're going to get at the end of the episode, if perhaps Myrn knew or expected that Peacemaker would freeze up when he was tasked with killing the family. Or maybe the family was, expendable enough that Myrn was willing to sacrifice them. But anyway, I'm kind of dancing around the reveal that we're going to see later on. We see that I guess Vigilante is none the worse for wear. Having trouble getting around a little bit, but the toe is still intact. Hopefully the testes are still intact as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to process here. Judo Master still alive. It would be a shame to lose him given his his little guest spot in the opening credits. So I'm glad that he was not bludgeoned to death by John Economos.
Scott, what do you think of the start of the show?
It starts off great. Just their back and forth is amazing. I love that Peacemaker and Myrn started talking about Matter Eater, where he's like,
Matter Eater lad. Yes.
Yeah, Matter Eater lad. He's like, I saw him eat a whole Wendy's once. And Myrn's like, well, what does that have to do? What, do you want me to bring him up? And it's just like Mern's looking at him like he's a fucking idiot. And we see Adebayo, which we were like, hey, maybe like she hasn't shot a gun. We know she's Amanda Waller's daughter, and it's like, and Harcourt's like, if you want to do this job, you can't balk, like, because that could have got her killed. So it's like a do or die situation. It's like you need to be able to pull the trigger. And one thing I did love was that Peacemaker has been bitching about none of his guns having the Dove insignia on him, and he's like, I can't shoot without this. This is a known fact. And Cena is just amazing in this. From the robot that was in Total Divas and Total Bellas to this, it's just like, oh my god, the man was just
the robot.
It's just amazing.
The serial killer from Total Bellas.
Yes.
All right. So back to the show. Driving Peacemaker to Augie's, Adrian, a.k.a. Vigilante, thanks his BFF for letting the senator torture him. So you were helping me become the best I can be, though as Chris notes, his tone sounds decidedly miffed. Arriving at his dad's, Chris picks the front lock and finds the TV on, but no one home. He stops by the household armory to grab some helmets, including the one with X-ray vision, and is clocking his father's Mountain White Dragon costume. When Adrian walks in, Chris semi-explains the ranch-style house is a probably vast quantum unfolding storage area, but Adrian is equally fixated on Chris's white supremacist father. On their way out, the old man next door taunts Peacemaker about not having a proper coterie of supervillains, to which Chris explains that it's because all of his are 6 feet under, and that sparks a debate about Batman's famous, if not wholly accurate ethos and Peacemaker contention that Batman is a pussy who simply puts clowns back behind bars so they can escape and kill some more. When the old man sniffs that Peacemaker will end up in prison just like his dad, Chris realizes where his father is. All right, Scott. So this is quite, interesting, this series, because we get, a visit back to the, White Dragon's Tony Stark-esque lair here. And the old man is back, which fan favorite already, I would think. But what do you think of this part?
I love that Vigilante is secretly pissed off. Well, not so secretly pissed off at Peacemaker for just, letting him be sacrificed, basically. He's like, you really weren't going to tell? And he's like, no, I wouldn't. And, like, just being, like, so sarcastic. I just loved it. And, like, we see you'll hear us talk a lot about Peacemaker's dad, and this is when you start seeing it, because we roll up to Augie's house and we saw that the flag is upside down, which means like it's like in a sign of distress. So like we see that, and then like I love how Chris is like, yeah, we have like a pocket dimension here, and that's where we have our workshop, and we see the white dragon, and like Vigilante makes fun of it. He's like, yeah, he has it open so you can hit him because he's a bad guy. And Chris is like, he's not a bad guy. He's just, because you never want to see your parents in a negative light. And I think this show's doing a good job of that, where like Chris just makes excuse after excuse, which we'll even see in the show, in this episode, of like, my dad's just misunderstood. He's not a racist or something and stuff like that. The comment where I never thought in a million years I would hear John Cena say that Batman's a pussy, but I'm here for it. And it was great. And, I'm a big Batman fan, but it makes sense when he's like, how many people that have died because Batman wouldn't kill someone? It's like, damn, that is a lot. That is a whole lot. So, like, but it also, like, because Peacemaker thinks he's a good guy, but he's really a bad guy because, yeah, he obviously was a piece of shit before.
Tim?
Also, sorry, when we were introduced to him in Suicide Squad, he was in prison. So let's not forget that.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah. So Vigilante and Peacemaker having like the shittiest passive aggressive argument ever on this car ride is pretty fun. Obviously, Vigilante is harboring some resentment towards his treatment at the end of our last episode. But this little road trip makes a lot of sense because we're going to acquire some more of these helmets. We saw how effective the Sonic Burst helmet was. So I thought this was a smart move on Peacemaker's part to acquire some more of that great weaponry, including, I noticed he takes all of the helmets, including the one that its only purpose is to give you scabies, apparently. So I wonder if we'll see that come into play. The casual explanation for the pocket dimension housing all of this shit is pretty great, as is the exchange with the neighbor, the old man from Up in live action form. But you know what? Like all superheroes and supervillains have their issues, and I would submit to you that Batman's issue is that he needs his supervillains kind of as much as they need him. So hearing John Cena retort back to this old man, riddle me this. Why doesn't Batman just put a bullet in their heads? Because that's what I do, and that's why I don't have any recurring supervillains. Makes a good point. I don't know. He's got his issues just like Batman does, but they are different issues. And as a consequence of that, he doesn't have too many of these guys who continue to plague him throughout his superhero career. Hard to argue with.
Yeah, a couple of things as I have the episode playing. So there's a report about a gorilla escaping from the zoo. Do you think we're going to see this gorilla before the season's over? I think so.
I feel like you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just do that. And I doubt. I don't want to say that's how we get Gorilla Grodd in the show.
Oh my god, that would be
not.
amazing.
I'm gonna guess not, but
No, I know. Joking.
It's yeah.
But yeah, and another thing too is he's got the code for the pocket dimension lair armory, but he doesn't have a key to the house.
Right.
All right, so Peacemaker then calls Myrn about his dad getting framed for Annie's murder, and Myrn explains that admittedly it wasn't the ideal plan. After Peacemaker reveals that he's en route to visit his dad, Myrn tests Adebayo with convincing him not to, lest their whole operation gets exposed. Myrn brings up the newbie's oddly thin resume and how Amanda Waller insisted she was fit for the job. He said, this is your chance to prove her right. Adebayo catches up with Chris outside the jailhouse and explains what Economos did, linking the car and fingerprints to Augie. Adebayo points out that Chris's dad is a white supremacist who dresses up as the White Dragon. He's not a good man who deserves saving, but Chris argues he's family and proceeds inside after Adrian completely fails to conceal a super secret identity when Adebayo instantly recognizes his voice and limp. When Chris explains to his dad how and why he got framed, Augie grumbles, I should have slit your throat as a kid, adding that whereas he truly loved Chris's brother, you were a blob of flesh I felt nothing for. Chris suggests that he is a grower, not a shower, as a son, and asks his dad to keep mum about what Argus is up to, in which Augie semi-conceded, I am no rat, but the first chance I get, I'm going to spill everything. Meanwhile, outside, Adebayo tells Adrian that while Chris is a good man, his father's very much not, and that Chris is never happy when his father is around. As such, I wish there was some way to make him go away, she says, planting the idea in Vigilante's head to cause a commotion by the guard's lunch area, which was hysterical, and get himself heaved into lockup alongside Augie. All right, Tim, we get Peacemaker learning some things that he didn't know about, and Adebayo is really, I don't know whether she helped her or made it worse. What do you think?
Yeah, that's an awesome bit of character development for Adebayo, I felt like, because she's been the little bit we've seen of her in her private life, like you can tell she's trying to distance herself from Amanda Waller as much as possible and to not be the type of person or monster that Amanda is. And yet here she goes and does something that is right out of Amanda Waller's playbook, right? In the name of trying to fix things, trying to do the right thing. She ends up really manipulating the people closest to her now here in this little task force that's been put together. And she exploits the fact really that Adrian is still sort of in his feelings over how Peacemaker treated him, like just pretty much was ready to discard him as just a piece of meat to be tortured indefinitely. He's still kind of pissed over that. They haven't really had it out. And she's like, yeah, you could kind of a good way to mend fences. If you got into that prison, got close to Augie, you could make a real difference. Like telling him without telling him, go in there and fucking assassinate his father, and everything is going to be right with your relationship, and it's going to make our jobs a whole lot easier. And she does that pretty expertly in her own way. It's not the way that Amanda Waller would do it, but it's equally persuasive. So we get the great prison infiltration scene. This is where, I don't know, Vigilante kind of has broken out of the show for me as my favorite character, and a lot of it is throughout this prison stuff that he he's proving his worth, for one thing, to the team. We saw him take out the family last episode where Peacemaker could not, and now he's sort of going into business for himself, although he's been unwittingly been put up to this job by Adebayo, but he shows he's a force to be reckoned with in that prison, and a pretty great scene coming up.
All right, Scott.
So when Peacemaker called Myrn, and immediately after that, this was in a show full of funny moments. This is like one of my top 5 funny moments. Myrn is looking at Economos and Harcourt through the window, and gets Economos attention and just mouths "fuck you" to him.
Yes.
I don't know why. It just made me laugh so much because, they don't want to piss off Peacemaker, so he'll continue doing the job. And Economos is he's like, what, do you think he's staring at me? And Harcourt's like, well, he's not looking at me. And he just fuck you. Because he fucked up. All this is his fault because he decided he was going to be a smartass because he didn't know if Myrn was taking a 1 or a 2, which he was probably, we'll get to that later. But,
yeah.
But it was just so great. And when they're having the talk with when Vigilante and Adayo's talking, and he's like, he has many great one-liners. How do you know Vigilante's a man? It could be a woman. You sound just like him. I hurt my toe skiing, and he's an idiot. He really is. And Tim, you were talking about how great he was. But then him getting his ass kicked by a trash can as he's moving it over, he's just struggling up with it, and he just throws it against the fence. It's oh my God. And I love Augie showing what a piece of shit he is. I'm no rat, but first chance I get, I'm spilling everything.
I'm gonna rat. Yeah.
And Peacemaker's that will make you a rat. And this is after John Cena, who not only said "fuck Batman," was also talking about how he's a grower, not a shower, and how he was a chode, and all this other stuff. And God, it's just go out of your way and watch that 5 minutes again, because all this happens in 5 minutes, and I had tears in my eyes of just. It's not a limp. I hurt myself skiing. To John Cena discussing himself with Chode, because this is the one who's doing you can't see me little kids, I went to a WWE show this weekend. Little kids still love John Cena, and here he is talking about Chodes, saying Batman's a pussy. All this, God, just chef's kiss.
You need a cigarette? I mean, God, what's going on down here? All right, anyway. When Peacemaker and Adebayo return to the video store, sans Adrian, a KO'd, Economos explains that the judo master got free and fled out a nearby window. Declaring rematch, motherfucker, Peacemaker gives chase and slugs it out in the parking lot with the Jolly Not So Green Giant, or the Jolly Green Not Giant, all as the two trade taunts about body sizes. When Judo Master at one point gains the upper hand, a shot rings out and Peacemaker sees that Adebayo fired the shot, her first ever, and he says, I was going to win that fight, before they lug the barely alive Judo Master back inside for another patch-up job from Economos. Seeing Adebayo shaken up by her first shooting / near kill, Harcourt notes that it hurts, otherwise you'd be just like Amanda Waller, who treats humans like nothing. Unaware of Adebayo's tie to the Argus boss, Harcourt then gets wind of Vigilante hit that Adebayo sort of accidentally set in motion, and Myrn turns in in turn chews out his apple dumpling gang of screw-up agents. He orders Economos to get Chase out of the system ASAP, lest they wind up down a man. Adrian, meanwhile, spoils for a fight in the lockup, inviting Augie and his pals to share something they are grateful that black people did. Fisticuffs indeed break out, and Adrian easily dispatches with Augie's 3 associates before guards arrive, to shut things down. Augie then beckons to the guards that he has an urgent information to get to the police. So, we get a lot going on here. We get Judo Master almost getting killed again. We get, an apple dumpling gang reference, which I never thought I'd hear, in one of these shows like this. Grew up watching those shows, and it's quite the opposite in terms of entertainment from this. And we get the Adrian kicking ass in prison. So, Scott, what'd you think of this part?
Okay, so when we saw where like Economos had like came back to check on Judo Master and he was away, and you're like, oh shit, and then we see like Judo Master coming out of like a filing cabinet pretty much and just whoops his ass. He was eating Zapp's potato chips, which that's just for you, Sean. Sorry, little inside joke there.
I know,
but no, it was awesome. But what was also, I thought it was Rey Mysterio versus John Cena. That's what I think every time they fight. And Judo Master was gonna spill some beans about the butterfly. He's like, the butterflies aren't what you think. And then Abayo finally grows some balls and then like decides to shoot her gun for the first time. And then she goes, I've never killed someone before. And Judo starts breathing and Cena goes, oh, you still didn't. just amazing. And oh my God, I really thought, I was so scared that Vigilante, because like we've seen, like we know he's proficient with a gun, but I just saw like a 10-pound trash can whoop his ass. So I was concerned he was going to get murdered here. Did anyone else feel that he was going to get murdered?
Yeah.
Yep, a little bit.
I was like, this character is so funny. They're just going to kill him off. But nope, he sits down and like, when he just rips on these white supremacists and he's like, sister fucking tiki torch motherfuckers. I just loved it. And it, like, he beats the shit out of them. And like, Augie's smart. He knows if he goes after him, he'll get in more trouble. And it's just like, damn, Adrian really can't hold his own, which is shocking because, like I said, we literally saw a trash can whoop his ass. I thought he was going to be, like, murdered, and, like, that was going to spur Peacemaker to get away from his dad. But that doesn't seem to be the case.
Right. Tim?
Oh, wow. A lot here. Yeah, so I definitely liked the John Cena versus Rey Mysterio rematch. Nice to see Peacemaker get over on Judo Master a little bit after having his ass handed to him in the last episode, along with the rest of the team. You gotta, and I, it's like, okay, well, how come he's so much more effective here? It's like, well, this is a guy who's Judo Master is recovering from a severe brain injury, so he may not be quite as quick as he was in the last go around. So it's a little bit more of a fair fight here, but hell of a time for Adebayo to finally find the guts, the wherewithal to shoot someone, to, as she thinks, kill someone. But no, Judo Master is sure resilient. He's still breathing. So he's right back on the couch, hooked up to the IV. Glad that he's still in play. But yeah, what the hell was he going to reveal about the butterflies? What? Maybe they're not. He says they're not what you think, right? So what do we think? That this is a kind of an alien invasion type thing, but maybe they're not here to kill us all and replace us. So more to come on that. But we have to put a pin in that subplot and get back to Augie in the prison with Adrian now. And the way that he trolls these white supremacists is great. He beats all their asses. And he's wasting no time. He's pretty much going for the kill here. And I for sure, like Scott figured, if he's not going to get killed, he's going to get fucked up bad. Like he's just going to bite off more than he can chew here, and basically get shanked in prison. But turns out to be a bit of a badass. And Augie is, just one step ahead of him. Realizes if he lays a finger on this guy, then he ain't getting that appointment with his attorney to spill the beans. So I like I just like the interaction between the two of them. And I hope that's not the last that we've seen of it this season. The Apple Dumpling Gang, what a pull, right?
Yeah.
Andy, who are you to shit on the Apple Dumpling Gang?
And I did.
I'm not shitting on the Apple Dumpling Gang.
So I've never seen the Apple Dumpling Gang. I had no idea what it was, but I did like Economos, who is one of those guys who always has to have the last word. He goes, but they always get it right at the end. And Mern looked like he wanted to fucking throttle him.
Yes.
I mean, any movie with Tim Conway and Don Knotts, come on.
Oh, gosh. Oh, and the bit with Harcourt where she's, I'd made the comment in our last episode, I think, that it seemed like Harcourt and Amanda Waller were kind of cut from the same cloth. They seem pretty similar. But here we see, nope, Harcourt, for as hardened as she is, and as, I guess, pragmatic, we can say, as she is, she's not as lacking in empathy as Amanda Waller. Like, she does still have a compassionate bone in her body, at least. Like, she's not totally the soulless monster that Amanda Waller has become. It means something to her still every time she has to pull the trigger. She's not totally dead inside. It's probably why we see her at that bar drowning her sorrows in her off hours. So again, some more good character shading there.
Yeah. Now I just have a question though: is Amanda Waller like this in the comics too? Like this much?
Oh yeah, she's a complete bitch. Like, just
she is not to be fucked with.
Okay, I just want to make sure because I friggin' hated her in both movies. Like, I hate this woman. Such a yeah. Anyway, all right. So back to the episode. Peacemaker finds Harcourt at the same bar that they were at a couple episodes ago. At this time, asks her what his file says about his dad, what dad did when he was a kid. With some hesitation, she reveals that it said Chris was trained to kill at a very young age, and that his brother died under mysterious circumstances, and you were involved. Returning home, Chris uses bong hits and bourbon to soothe this new emotional pain before laying down on the floor as a montage shows Adrian being released, Economos watching over Judo Master, Adebayo dodging a call from the wife, and a stone-faced Mern at home watching TV. Interspersed are flashbacks to his childhood, where his dad hands him a blade to stab a tight-up stranger, to Rick Flagg's death in the Suicide Squad, and again to his childhood, where his brother collapses to the ground, seizing and with his mouth foaming. In the closing moments, both Eagly and the jarred up and possibly stoned butterfly creature that Peacemaker, in fact, kept quietly sidle up to a sad Chris. Harcourt arrives at the cop shop to drive home Adrian, who worries that he made things worse by agitating Chris's dad. And Adebayo finds in the golf files a business card for the same company as Butterfly Annie's work ID. Adebayo calls Mern with her good news, and he says he'll be right there after we see he finishes eating a bowl of golden goo with his long purple butterfly tentacle. Dun, dun, dun. I just added that for effect. So, Tim, a lot goes down in the end of this episode, and what's happening?
Yeah, a lot to unpack. So the way that the flashbacks are employed in this series, unlike another series we're covering, just makes me want to see more and have some rather compelling questions as to what we're seeing and what it all means. Certainly the stuff with Peacemaker as a kid with his brother. What the hell happened to the brother? Was Chris responsible for this? Did Augie, was he playing some kind of sick mind game with his kids? And why does he hold the dead brother in so much higher esteem? Like, these are all things we're going to have to revisit as the series continues on. Also, the reveal that the butterfly is still intact. He kept it in a jar, didn't kill it after all. So keeping that one pretty close to the vest. I thought that Eagly might eat it after we see it rolling around on the floor. I thought that jar was going to break, and that was going to be the end of that. But no, that's still in play. And unlike the Apple Dumpling Gang, what we're seeing here is that our team did not get it right in the end, with Adrian acknowledging and Adebayo kind of agreeing that they kind of fucked this one up and maybe ended up making things worse in the end, not better. And finally, the great Myrn reveal. So what does this say about his character? I almost feel like we have to go back and rewatch these earlier episodes, starting from his appearance, to try to make sense of some of his motivations, knowing now that he in fact has been a butterfly all along. So yeah, you see that proboscis come out, it leaves no doubt as he's slurping up that whatever the hell it is, the goo. Holy shit. And again, I'm left with the question: Are they, were these actual people that the butterflies have possessed? I think that's what they're going for. Or were they never people to begin with, and it's just aliens, and they're like piloted by the butterfly is the actual creature, and it's just wearing a human costume essentially. I don't know. I'm not sure that we've gotten clarification on that yet. But it's really it remains a treat to see how we're going to continue to deal with this butterfly infestation. Meanwhile, you've got the slow burn of Augie in the prison, and now he's been released, and he's going to be scheming independently. Just a lot of threads here to hold your interest. So I'm really digging this show, and I can't wait for the next episode.
All right. Scott.
Oh, what God. And I can't be remiss without saying, and Shawn brought this up, the song House of Pain playing over this by Faster Pussycat was just amazing. Just like the perfect song. I'd never heard the song before.
I don't think I have either. Yeah.
And it was just amazing. Like, you felt more emotion. That's why I joked about Robot Cena earlier. In him doing bong hits and drinking the bourbon, and we see these like flashbacks of like Rick Flag saying, "You're no hero," as he dies. You know, Augie forcing him to stab some guy that they have tied up as a little kid, and him crying, and then his brother looked like they were in some fight club or something, like, you know, with mouth foaming. That was just heartbreaking, and everything falls. And that's where I thought the butterfly was gonna attack Eagly. He was going to fall on it, Tim, but I hope we don't lose Eagly. He's awesome.
I know, right?
And it also makes sense with we see Adebayo. She's ignoring phone calls from her wife, so like, you know, she's starting to pull away from her wife, which they were wanting to get out after this, and she's starting to dig herself even deeper. You know, she finds the same company cards, and now we see Myrn. I was shocked with that, but it did make sense when he was trying to talk about emotion, because when we saw in that episode where they kill the senator and his kids, that they didn't show any emotion. So maybe he's a recently turned butterfly, and he's trying to figure out how to get emotions.
Could be.
I mean, is he the only butterfly in the crew?
I think so, because the rest of them are too stupid.
I mean,
and I did like with Harcourt when they're talking at the bar, and he's like, "Your tits look real perky in that outfit." But I just want to let you know that, as like he's walking away after she told him like, "Yeah, you were involved in the death of your," like, because he wanted to know what was on it, but like he can't even help himself. Like, I know he's probably gonna smash by the end of the season, but like, you know, she's gonna tease him the whole time.
Yeah, and the fact that, you know, Peacemaker's wearing a Faster Pussycat shirt while he's listening to it. But yeah, they were one of those bands from the 80s. Didn't have a lot of hits, up there with like Kicks Tesla, those kind of bands, White Lion, Striper. They would always open for like the bigger bands like Whitesnake, Guns N' Roses, Poison.
I was gonna say they sounded a bit Great Value, Guns N' Roses to me.
Yeah, they were part of the hair metal band scene.
Mm-hmm.
They had their hit here and there, and they had a good following, but they were never like headliners, I think. So,
like if you told me this had been a GNR deep cut, I would have been like, oh, okay, I guess I've just never heard that.
Yeah, it's like the only Faster Pussycat song you probably hear, because I think like I don't even know if I can name another Faster Pussycat song. So I can name one Dangerous Toy song. Like those are the groups like they had like that one hit that crossed over, but have their their fan base. All right, so guys, we're at the halfway point here because there's 8 episodes this season. What do you think we're going to see coming up, Scott? What do you think?
I wish it was sadly more episodes because I could take so many more, but I hopefully it would probably overstay its welcome. But I don't give a shit. I love the show so much compared to like spoiler alert. I watched Peacemaker the day it came out. I watched Boba Fett today when we recorded, just so I could be ready for the podcast. Like that shows where my interest is at with that. And I never would have thought, like, I know I'm a DC fanboy, but it's like I'm jonesing. If they would have released 3 more episodes last week, I would have been down for it. But, we're only getting this one here. I have no idea where the story is going, and it feels good to know that. It's not like, with the other shows we've seen, we're like, oh, we can see this happening. I legit have no idea. I know, though, supposedly there's a rumor Harcourt's in Black Adam, so obviously she might be alive, but the rest of them all die because I watched the trailer for next week's episode, which is one thing that I'm glad HBOmax and DC does that Marvel doesn't. They have the trailers there so I can watch it right after the show ends, and they're going to be infiltrating some plant full of butterflies, so we're going to see a lot of action next episode, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, but I don't know. Maybe like Myrn is discovered and like, but also feel with what Ray Judo said that the butterflies aren't bad. So maybe like it's one of those things where we're really the bad guys after all, like an I Am Legend type swerve.
Mm-hmm. I hate that movie. Tim, what do you think? What's going on?
Shit, I have no idea. But in a good way, just like Scott said, I just. It's nice to not have like a set of expectations when it comes to one of these shows, just because I'm not really invested in these characters from other media or anything. It's all pretty fresh to me, so I'm just enjoying it as it comes. I will say I feel like there's got to be a swerve coming as it relates to these butterflies. We've seen there's just so many of them that have, I guess, infiltrated the planet. There's no way they can take out all of them, but I think we're going to find out that that's not the most noble goal necessarily. And yeah, I just continue to be fascinated by whatever machinations Augie has, just brewing. But yeah, if nothing else, I'm sure we can count on more great music drops, more music that is probably very old that I've never heard and will enjoy because James Gunn is so great at that. It's the type of thing that normally I find really obnoxious because it's done poorly in most shows, I feel like. And it's so on the nose that you're like, oh, of course they're going to play this fucking song right now, right? But, I mean, the way that James Gunn does it, as often as he does it, you would think it would get repetitive. You would think it would be grating. But he always finds a way, whether it's a character, actually playing the song in some way that relates to what they're going through, which is what we saw at the end of this episode, or it's just a clever usage. He knows what the hell he's doing, so I just continue to be amazed at that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more 80s hair metal. I think because Peacemaker seems to be a fan. Like we've already gotten like Cinderella, and we've seen Saigon Kick. Waiting for all these other obscure bands. Like I said,
but it's not the cliche. It's not the cliche 80s shit that you hear all the time. No disrespect to I like a lot of 80s music, but when shows do that, it's like, well, okay, this song I like it, but do I really need to hear it right now in this moment in this show, right?
Like,
and
yeah, you wouldn't hear this
it's
stuff
just
on 80s Done 8. Basically,
Yeah.
it's this stuff you'd hear on, like, Rock Bar, maybe. You know, maybe we'll get Teased and Pleased by Dangerous Toys, Don't Close Your Eyes by Kicks. Who knows? But a lot. I'm here for it because I grew up
Me too.
with that stuff, loving it. So, all right. Oh, awesome job as always, guys. Can't believe we're halfway through the season. Oh, well, I guess they gave us, 3/8 of it first week. But,
do we really just get 8 episodes of this? Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, so much. They can't have. Sometimes it's too much of a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Do we even know what may be coming next in the terms of the DCEU? I don't even know if we know what's going on next.
I think the next thing is Black Adam this summer. Sadly, with the not sadly, like I think that's like the only thing.
Sadly, with The Rock.
No, like I'm looking forward to it, but it's like one of the biggest things. Like this would be a whole other pod. Like I'm about to fucking get on my soapbox. That's like one of the bigger mistakes. Is like the DCEU don't have their own Kevin Feige. They tried with Jeff Johns and it didn't work out, sadly. And B, it's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So like, is all this stuff like canon? Like, what universe is it in? Because like, spoiler alert, the new Batman that comes out, Batman's the next thing that comes out. Next Batman that comes, the Batman.
The
that
Batman.
comes out, sounds like Bret Hart's making it, but
Batman. Oh, go see the Batman. It's 3 hours. You gotta set aside a lot of time for it.
I hope you guys pee beforehand. But like, that's not even the same universe that the Flash is set in. I guess like they're trying to do Earth 1 and Earth 2, but like if a big fan barely knows what the fuck is going on, how is Joe Schmo and Sidney Doe gonna fucking know what's going on too? Because
Sidney Doe.
Because then, from what's been leaked for the Flash movie, we're gonna have Michael Keaton come back and Batfleck. So it's like, I shouldn't have to have that meme from It's Always Sunny of Charlie trying to figure out what the hell's going on for something. But yeah, like sadly, like they've hit a home run with this, but who knows when season 2 is coming? Because I know James Gunn is busy making Guardian stuff, and Cena's busy making movies as well. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully Shawn will be with us at some point during our coverage of Peacemaker. But we will pass along his thoughts as we get them. So we will check you out next time for Scott Shifflett and Tim Capel. Thank you for joining us for our coverage of Peacemaker on Pop Goes to the Couch, and we'll see you next week. Take care.